Hello, everybody. Welcome to today's reaction video. So, that's not a reaction video. It is a album review. Sorry, we do so many reaction videos and not many album reviews. So, let's have a look at today's request. It's come in from Drummaster 4334. Good to have you back, sir. Hey guys, it's been a while, but I have another album suggestion for you. Pretty Odd by Panic! At the Disco. This album marks a turning point in Panic! At the Disco's discography. Instead of going for their well-known pop punk sound, they go into psychedelic rock pop, taking inspiration from the Beatles and the Beach Boys. Right, well, this sounds right up your street. Right up your street. But not up my street. Not really into the psychedelic stuff. You very much are. You love the Beatles. Shout out the Beach Boys as well?
I love the Beach Boys.
You love the Beach Boys, right?
But just to clear, like the psychedelic side of the Beatles is not my strongest areas of like of the Beatles. So I think we've talked about some other stuff in the past. I think it can be some sort of hit and miss ones. Really, if you can find some really good artistic ones that really work, and others which is just maybe a bit too psychedelic for me and you.
Right. Well, if it's too psychedelic for you, it'd definitely be too psychedelic for me. We won't go through all of this. This we can read in our own time. Quite a lot of information here. Could be interesting to read. So, as for the songs on the album, so there are 15 tracks. However, the total length of the album is only 48 minutes, 46 seconds, meaning that the tracks are pretty short on the whole. Do you recognise any of these? Maybe the ones that are highlighted, probably released ones?
Yeah. The only one I do there is 9 in the Afternoon.
Yeah, you a fan of that one?
Am I allowed to say? Is that? Or give too much away?
Oh, you don't have to say. Keep us all in suspense. We won't do the Japanese bonus tracks. We won't do the iTunes Deluxe version bonus tracks either. So, I don't know much about Panic! At the Disco. I've heard of them. They're well known. But I don't know. Not really sure what to expect from this. I don't have my hopes up too high because I'm not really into the psychedelic stuff. What do you think? Do you think I'm gonna like this?
I don't know. It's a strange one because it could go either way, really. Because I think a lot of their pop punk stuff you probably would like. Maybe this maybe a bit too different. I don't know, but it could work out better and actually be more enjoyable potentially. I said I don't give away with sort of the one track that I know to sort of influence anything going on there. But I think either way, I am looking forward to this to it. I think it's going to be quite interesting from there. But I think it's going to be a hard one to judge what you might think on it. Because again, I won't know enough for myself either. So I suppose everyone's just going to have to wait in the next 20 seconds now before they find out what we start thinking about it.
Yeah, but you can't wait. Right, well, we're going to head off and listen to it because we can't wait ourselves to listen to it. And we will let you know exactly what we thought, song by song review coming up in just a few seconds. Right, now listen to the album. So we're going to go straight into it for you. First track then was We're So Starving. So my notes on this one were, well, thanks for the apology and for the reassurance. And it was just a message to the fans. Like I said there in my notes, just apologising for not releasing an album earlier, and just sort of reassuring all the fans that everything's fine. They've just been working on the album, and it was all right. It wasn't bad. Short and sweet.
Yeah, so short and sweet, as you said. I'm obviously going to say this line quite a bit. It's probably majority of probably my notes, but this song, like many of the others, was dripping wet of Beatles all the way through. So I haven't made notes in terms of exactly what type of Beatles songs there were, because I think it's quite hard to say, but there's definitely that feel to it there. But this was weird. This was sort of like an intro song, but again, sure, but like a proper song. We've had quite a few sort of like intro type ones, but this one felt a bit different. But as you say, it was just a really nice, sort of good, proper introduction, and it really set out its stall in terms of what we were probably going to be getting with a lot of the album. Didn't know that at the time, but yeah, that's effectively what we got from this first track.
Okay. Do apologise, everybody, if you experience some audio issues. Not sure what's going on here. Okay, let's go to the next one. Track 2 then was 9 in the Afternoon. So this album was from 2008, and it was very much like a 2008 indie sounding song. I've put it's a perfectly acceptable sounding song, but can't really say much more than that. It didn't make a big impression on me, but I didn't dislike it either.
Oh man, maybe this song came on too early in the album. So this is obviously a song I said in the intro that I recognised, and it's probably the song I think to most of when I think of Panic at the Disco, and I really love this song. Love everything about it. I never really at the time thought of it like a Beatles feel to it, but since listening to it on the album and it kind of all makes sense. I actually had never seen the video of this song, and actually afterwards I went to see the video, and even that sort of had Beatles kind of feel to it, like the Sgt. Pepper elements to it there. But I really like the song. I love the surrealness of it. I do find it extremely catchy, but that's maybe because I've heard it a lot of times. And but as you said, it definitely has that sort of indie 2008 feel. And I'm a little surprised you probably didn't enjoy that one as much as I thought you would. So, but for me, it is. I'll say it now. It is my standout song of the album.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Why did you think I was going to like it?
I don't know. I thought maybe you. So I know you didn't recognise the title when you saw it, but I thought maybe once you heard it, you might have recognised it. And today, it does have a good feel. It feels catchy in a way, and yeah, I don't know. Yeah, maybe it was a bit far. I think maybe you would, but yeah, maybe I was thinking more in the sense of you actually maybe recognising a little bit and getting a good feeling from it.
No, didn't recognise it. Next track then is "She's a Handsome Woman." It's I suppose it's kind of like slow and measured indie rather than like the real kind of hardcore indie stuff that was around back in the noughties. I'd say it's an average song at best. As it went on, I was thinking maybe I'm being too kind. And I just wasn't enjoying the style or sounds of this song of this song, yeah.
Yes, I put it actually feels like I've got like a different singer at this point. And I've even put in brackets here Arctic Monkeys question mark, because I think they also went down that same sort of route on one of the late albums that we reviewed as well, so I kind of got that feeling. But overall, yeah, I found it just a nice feeling emo rock mixture, easy to listen to song. And again, that is quite familiar through some of the songs that we hear on this album as well. So yeah, not a standout, but definitely nothing wrong with it either.
Your internet is awful. What's going on?
No idea. So I've got good signal. I can't see you on the screen. Is it worth carrying on? Is it really that bad?
Pretty bad, yeah. Well, continue anyway as we started. Next track is Do You Know What I'm Seeing? So this music sounds like country music when it first started. And I thought, okay, this one could be better. But it turns out that I still didn't like it. Hard to put my finger on it, on why, but it's just, again, it just goes back to that, what I was saying earlier. It's just not my style of music. It's listenable, though. I thought the lyrics were very repetitive, and that's not the first time I'm going to say that in this album review. So, yeah, so far, not so good.
Yeah, I know where you're probably going to come from with some of the repetitive stuff a bit later on. I didn't probably remember feeling much on this one here. As I'm going to repeat a few times, again, really heavy Beatles feel with this one here. And I think it's just these sort of nice, pleasant middle ground songs, really. And what I put here, yeah, and I think the classic sort of thing with the Beatles bit, sort of at the end, we sort of had that sort of birds chirping kind of noises in this one here, and it's probably like that sort of surreal element, and it's that sort of Beatles period that you're probably not the biggest fan of, where they're a bit more sort of experimental and doing these more sort of crazier things. Yeah, I didn't mind this one.
Okay, so the next one was That Green Gentleman, Things Have Changed. So I prefer the beat of this one, but I'm still not keen on it. There is something about the music that just doesn't do it for me. There is promise, though, and I'm still hopeful I can like at least one song on this album. So I think what I meant by that was that, I don't know, well, even now I can't really explain it properly. It was like, I suppose what I meant by that was, it wasn't like really unbearably loud, rocky music where I'm just like, okay, I don't like this at all. It wasn't like that. It was, like you kind of said, it's kind of like that kind of middle ground music, pleasant enough, but even so, something about it just meant I was finding it difficult to enjoy at this stage.
Yeah, I don't think I picked anything that you said there at all. I think it cut out quite sense. So what I've got here, and so I don't mention. So apologies if you did mention some of the same stuff here. So this was actually a release song from the album, and what I put here, it kind of feels like it. It feels like that tiny bit more popular maybe with some of the others. I'm trying to be catchy. I feel like it is trying to be a bit like track 2, the 9 in the Afternoon one, which was also obviously released, but just not as good as that one. Again, we've still got this undertone Beatles feel through this one without. And I said it's nice, it merges into the next song, but for me it's just not as good and as catchy as 9 in the Afternoon.
Okay, so track 6 was I Have Friends in Holy Spaces. So this was purposely sounding like really old music. And I actually prefer this to their other songs that I'd heard so far, but it's still not very good. There was a pause and now a soft sound at the end, which was a bit weird. I didn't quite see the point in that, but yeah, it was something a bit different, I suppose.
Yes, this was like a simple sort of interlude. That's effectively what I had to put my classic line of the experimental song. This may have been the closest one to it because it did feel more different to the others. I like the different sounds of different instruments we had here, which I know you love your instruments, Lee. So I picked out, I heard like a ukulele. I feel I've heard a clarinet, which is also something that the Beatles used a lot in period of their time. The trumpet sound as well, also very Beatles elements from there. Like I say, it could have been maybe an interesting last track or even a hidden track. It felt weird as an interlude, very different, possibly experimental game. Didn't mind it.
Okay. So on to the next track then. 1 second. Northern Downpour. So this one had a nice acoustic start, and I was like, okay, this could be the one. And I was like, easily the best so far. Don't spoil it, please. And I thought, okay, it's better because it doesn't have that annoying indie sound. But by towards the end of it, I was like, okay, it's still not great. There was a lot of promise there at the beginning, but again, it was very repetitive. A lot of the same lyrics being repeated over and over again, and it just turned out to be very average.
Yeah, I guess so. This obviously is a bit of a slower sort of ballad-esque type song, but not in the same way we probably have other things. But I think so they're almost like you said, I think people like acoustic kind of feeling to that. We obviously had like sort of both singers, and they were singing really well together. Again, we still have this kind of different kind of Beatles feel throughout. I think like the song like Blackbirds potentially, which I know not many people obviously get that reference there, but another Beatles reference because they did a song called Only a Northern Song. So I didn't know if there was a touch to that with the title like Northern Downpour, because I didn't pick up Northern Downpour much in the song. So whether it was a nod to the Beatles in that one there. But as you also mentioned there, I think it just went that little bit too long and may sort of been like a shorter one like the previous one, almost like another interlude, just a nice short little song. I think just went on that little bit too long.
So the next track was When the Day Met the Night. I thought this was an average song at best and just wasn't keen on the style. That's all I've got for this one.
Yeah, again, I'm going to say another sort of Beatles take on it. I probably should be more fun, probably in terms of, because Beatles did lots of different styles and stuff, and they also pick up through this album. So this is like another different take on it here. I think so you have the sort of instrumental bits with the different instruments playing throughout, and it has a sort of dramatic kind of ending. Which can be done there before. Lots of different sounds and songs going on in the background. Yeah, so to me it was like almost doing like a modern take on a Beatles song, which again, let's see, that's what they're kind of trying to do, I guess, there, and that's sort of the best way of going that particular track.
Then we had Pas de Cheval. So this one had a nice beat to it, and I was like, oh no, it's gone wrong. Turns out I don't like it. Well, actually, I quite like part of it. So I understood what was going on. I understood the pattern that was going on here. There was a female voice in parts as well that I quite liked. So I liked the kind of, how can I say, I didn't like the main chorusy parts. That's what I didn't like. The rest of the song, I preferred. So yeah, this one had a lot of promise, but unfortunately the chorus messed this one up for me. The main part.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, like a sort of happy, upbeat song. I said this sounds that more sort of American, almost rocky, country, poppy kind of music. So I can probably see why you would probably like that one there. We have sort of good guitar riff, some point in the middle as well, or towards the end. Female singer involved. This one here. again, it's the end, and I don't think it blew me away in any way, but also wasn't like I didn't like this one at all. Again, it felt like we had a tiny bit of variation, and it was just a nice one to listen to.
So the piano knows something I don't know. An awful sounding song, just not for me. A bit all over the place, no pattern to it, no rhythm, and then it just drags on at the end. Awful.
Everything for this one, from the title, the surreal sounds, we had I think Christmas church bells coming on, extended ending, all the things that you didn't like of it, very out of some Beatles songs. I say even the title just had the sort of Beatles kind of feel to it. Even for me, I can see and agree, it just made it a bit too mishmash of sounds. I could probably argue that maybe this one really could have been sort of experimental song, but because I feel it was an ode to the Beatles stuff, that's probably why I didn't think of it as that. But it'll be a close sort of second in a different way. But yeah, that's probably why I didn't like it. But again, I didn't mind it just because I think it has that nod to the Beatles.
So then we had Behind the Sea. Slightly better, this one. It sounds old, Beatles-like. That's my first reference to the Beatles. Because I'll be honest, I hadn't really noticed any kind of resemblance to the Beatles before this, but then again, I don't know much about the Beatles. But this one I did feel it did sound like the Beatles. Possibly this is the second best song on the album after the first track. The song has changed up towards the end. I still don't mind it though. Overall, not really my type of song, but still better than most of the others on the album.
Oh, yeah, interesting. So again, I think it does have that mix, and again, as I said, even you identified, you've kind of got sort of Beatles feel with this one here. Felt like sort of different singers, so it kind of also reminds me when like the Beatles also had like different singers for different people who wrote different songs would then sing their songs effectively, and this is what I got from this one here. I did find my head was bopping. I've written here, my head's bopping, my toes are tapping, so it does have that little bit something to it there. And then right at the end, really apt for anyone who doesn't know the song A Day in the Life. Just that sort of classic kind of not sure where it's going, and it sounds a bit kind of surreal. Really like that. So yeah, again, quite similar to a lot of the other songs as well.
Next up was Folking Around. I was like, wow, this is like proper country. This is the best song so far. Not much to it, to be honest, but nothing wrong with it either. And I think, I don't have it written down here, I think this was quite a short song, if I remember correctly. So, yeah, this was a good one by the album standard, which isn't very high.
Yeah, what did you say the title was again for this one?
Folking Around.
Oh, okay, right, yeah. I must have misheard. It must have been poor connection if we said something else. That one there. Yeah, I said a real short song, quick, simple, fun, upbeat one. Again, I did put a reference to a particular Beatles song for this one called I've Just Seen a Face, for anyone who's listening and interested and bothered by that. And yeah, just like a real short, fast, quick played song. I really like this one. I think I'll probably put this as happy to say is maybe my second favourite on the album, just for it being just really quick and again just nice nod influence to the Beatles. Fast, simple, fun song.
So next up we had She Had the World. Very slow, almost speaking in parts. I prefer this style to the indie sounding stuff at least. I mean, it's a bit boring, but it is listenable. If most of the other songs have been below average, this one is average. At least I can say that.
Okay. Yeah, I think maybe it will say, I don't know if you feel the same at this sort of stage now, but where I think even though there has been variety, there has been quite a lot of sort of the samey kind of thing, and I feel that's the same with my notes I'm sort of making here as well. So it is a slightly slower song compared to some of the others. Again, it's just nice and pleasant. You can't not like it. We've got the Beatles feelings all over the place. I don't know if that's just constantly now in my head. I can just pick it up all the time, or I'm just saying it for the sake of saying it. It's good, but I think maybe some of the other ones maybe were slightly bit better, or I'm thinking they're just still not being as good as my favourite song on the album so far, 9 in the Afternoon.
So we finish off with From a Mountain in the Middle of the Cabins. This one just didn't make an impression on me at all. It's not awful, but it's not the last track. There's another one to go as well. Not making it. So yeah, this one's it's not awful, but it isn't very good either. Just a typical song from the album.
Yeah, like I said, I think it's that stage I'm more again where you kind of need something either completely different or something from there. I think the difference we have in this one, we've now got sort of a bit more sort of piano playing in this particular song, but otherwise, like I said, it just felt very similar to the previous song, but just the other one was a bit slower, and this was just more of an upbeat version. I felt like these two songs could have been exactly the same, just sped up a tiny bit. So again, nice, pleasant, did not mind listening to it, but I think at this stage in the album, maybe needed something that little bit different to change it up a bit.
So the last track, Mad as Rabbits, again, for the second time, I'm going to mention the Beatles. So this had a Beatles sound to this one in parts. Other parts to me sounded more like proper noughties indie. So for me, it was that sort of mix between Beatles and indie. But just a typical song from the album and not my style. I think that pretty much sums up the album for me, not my style.
As you said there, I feel like you probably sort of some of their modern sort of take on the Beatles. So like I said, got some modern emo stuff with nods to the Beatles, which like I said we've been having throughout. I feel this could potentially have been a release track, and I think what I mean by that is that it probably felt a little bit catchy, probably had a bit of a head boppy element to it. But I say it's just probably not as good as the others. Was it a nice way to end the album? Sort of question mark. That's why I was thinking maybe some of those other more unusual ones maybe to finish off, or done something really sort of Beatles like to really make a nod to it. Again, didn't mind it, just probably not as good as some of the other ones I'd listened to.
Okay, so to sum up, I didn't like the album. I'm not surprised. I didn't think I'd like it from what I remember what I was saying at the beginning in the intro. It is quite hard to put my finger on it. You might be able to help me on this one, Brett, a little bit. I think I prefer just kind of more normal sounding kind of pop music. I don't know how to explain it. Just this was a little bit too jazzed up. I don't know, a little bit too out there for me, maybe, or experimental. I'm not sure. Just I don't know. I prefer like songs with a proper kind of chorus, proper part. I don't know. It's hard to explain because it's just not. Maybe it's too artistic for me. I'm not sure. I'm not sure really where I'm going with this, but I just didn't enjoy it. It just wasn't. It's not the sort of music that I like to listen to. I still felt there was potential because, like I said earlier, it wasn't like it was like really hard, rocky stuff that I'm just not going to like it. It was quite, like you said, kind of middle of the road, quite easy to listen to. But despite that, it just didn't go down the right road for me. It was just too, I don't know, it's not the sort of thing I like to listen to. So I was disappointed, I suppose, with it, but didn't have high expectations anyway. There were a few okay songs towards the end, I suppose, but overall, yeah, it's a thumbs down from me.
I don't know if I do have the answer for you because, as you said, and you've identified yourself, it's not hardcore indie, it's not hardcore emo. It does fit more down the sort of pop element. I said there was quite a lot of sort of surreal stuff in this particular album, it seems. But then I do realize I was thinking, because I said I really like 9 Afternoon, and I was thinking, Trying to hard to think about the other Panic disco songs because I could only think of like one or two others that I potentially knew. And actually, after looking through, what surprised me is that actually they've very probably had one top 10 hit in the US. The rest they've not really had big hits. They've done well in album sales, so I feel like they've got a core fans who like what they do, and they're seeing more of an album kind of thing. I mean,
So they're a bit niche.
Yeah, I think so. I feel like for someone to get that sort of traction, you kind of need to have a real big pop hitty song. And even Nine Afternoon, I said for me, it's my favourite. It's probably the closest poppy one they probably have. It's still, yeah, maybe that little bit niche and doesn't quite have the market for it. Obviously, they are popular. They obviously do really well. And I said the stuff we heard, even really like, it's alright. It's good to listen to, but it's not, it doesn't stand out enough for someone who's not into that maybe genre of music. So maybe that's still the best way I can explain it. But in terms of me and the album, like I said, I like the album. Hard for me to say I love the album, which is strange because I do like this kind of music. There's all these nods to the Beatles, which I really like. But even for me, I probably found maybe they went on about it a bit too much. Because even me by then thinking, okay, yeah, I like the nods to the Beatles. I really like that. Yeah, you have got variation here, but I said I didn't feel like I wanted to listen to the whole album over again, except for that one song, Night in the Afternoon. But again, if I heard some of these other songs again on their own, yeah, I again would probably enjoy listening and they'd be okay. But I think maybe that's as far as it goes, really. So, not a thumbs down, but also at the same time, not a I need to go out and buy it or rush in to listen to that one again.
All right. Well, thanks for the request. And keep the requests coming. We don't have too many for album reviews. And we'll see you again soon for the next one. Take care. Goodbye.